Okay, guys, thank you for being here. So this is part 2 of the show. Those were your opening statements. Now, what we'll try to do is to address these issues and some home issues, everything that's happening here in the Val, which students would like to get clarity on and maybe get an understanding. And if you guys have to disagree on anything, it's welcomed. So here, I just wanted to know, first of all, if you guys, especially from the president who's in right now, to brief us about the promises you made for this year, all the endeavors you wanted to reach, or the milestones you wanted to reach for this year, things like EPTech funding, freshers, residence renovation, and you can add some of those things in there. Everything you've achieved, and those that you didn't achieve, maybe tell us about it, Deadlock. And your opposition parties as well can come in with their own perspectives of what they understand about these issues. So can we start with that?
Yeah, thank you very much. Firstly, I'd like to, I hear what you're asking, but on promises and addressing and speaking on my manifestos, I did not make a promise.
Okay.
But I spoke on challenges that the institution is faced with and my perspective on how things can be turned around. The only struggle that we have initiated, not I, because I've initiated it with other comrades, before we were even SRC, is a BTEC funding struggle. And I'd like to start with that because it's very close to my heart. The BTEC funding that we've initiated. Now, when we initiated BTEC funding, we're initiating a struggle that we knew it's a difficult one. Because you're not going to wake up in the morning and just find money sitting somewhere. You must make plans for those students to get money and be funded. Before even funding, you must ensure that they are registered and they have a place where they are going to stay. So the one of registrations and accommodation, we have championed it. But where we're the stumbling block, it's where we had the bigger picture of fundraising for those students. The first initiative that we have made, we said, let's invite all stakeholders. All stakeholders, all those that are making money in the university, let's bring them in one place. Now, when we bring them in one place, those people must come and they must donate a certain amount to the university. That, to this far, is not okay. Why did it not okay? It's because you know that the university has been corrupt for years and the change of leadership had to occur. As we speak, we have an administrator sitting. So we had started. We have convinced Emerald, anyone is open to can go and check with them. We have convinced Emerald to give us a venue where we're going to put those people so that we put them in a good place. And they've agreed to donate that venue to us for free, with food, with everything. Now, the step that we had was to invite those communities. Unfortunately, as a student leader, you can't wake up and approach these people and invite them. You might be corrupted in the way. They might say to you, look, instead of giving BTEC 2 million, just take 100,000, stop with this thing. So we said, hey, we're not going to go no. But we're going to tell the university to invite their stakeholders, because it's them who have that agreement. But one did in writing and must be proven to us. When we're in the process, the university informed us that no, there's a director of fundraising, Dr. Ramdan. Go to her, we engage her, she started the process. The process, the administrator was appointed, she had to stop. So she said to us, let's hold it so that we hear the administrator, and if we give a why, because the vice chancellor's powers are not stripped off. It's both management and his council. So she stopped. The administrator recently approved, but during exams, and it was already late. And we said, we'll still continue with it, we'll do invitation, we'll decide anything. This is not something a president was doing alone.
So can I please quickly interject a bit?
Yeah.
Are you saying that you didn't have much of a control when it came to BTEC funding, but there are specific people, because there's someone you mentioned that you said she stopped doing something.
Yeah.
There are specific people who actually had the powers per se to, okay.
Please capture me.
Okay.
Saying to you, the invitation of stakeholders, it's best it's done by the university, not by a student, to avoid corruption,
Okay.
and for it to be ethical.
Okay.
So when the university had to do it, they said we have a strategic person that was recently appointed, who's a fundraiser of the university. So that person can take your program as the SRC. It's not a program of the president, by the way. Your program as the SRC, and be the one who invite these people in one place and make sure that your dream comes true. You get me? So it had to come to a pause, but it's not closed. It's still going to be reopened. She's still going to invite those people before we exit office, because we're going to exit office next around April.
So someone did not do their job correct, or someone did not do their job.
She was doing a job,
but she
in different
didn't
leadership.
execute.
In different leadership.
Okay.
While in the process of concluding it, they changed leadership. So
Okay.
she had to stop so that the new leader can also give a go. I don't know if you get it.
Leadership.
The vice chancellor was the vice chancellor of the university says, I agree with the program of the SRC.
Okay.
You can go ahead, I will take account
Okay.
of whatever that happens in inviting those people so that they don't think it's a scare.
Okay.
Now the vice chancellor is out, the administrator is in, she had to stop. So that the administrator can also look into it and give his go for it to can be able to. Okay, I don't know if you have captured.
Yes, everything you have said very gave, I think, a lot of students a clarity.
Yeah.
And you are right saying, Uguti, you are not the one alone in the SRC if students want to blame anyone. Because I think there is EFF as well in the SRC.
Yeah,
there is SASCO, yes. So does the EFF have anything to say concerning what teacher said?
Yeah, look, comrade, what is misleading us? I will tell you this. Comrade Wandile, before he became the president, he gave students a wrong impression that BTEC funding is something very easy to do. Himself, we can go back to archives and go back to facilities that he addressed, and Facebook posts and whatnot. That's the issue, because now when we demand answers and we demand accountability, we're being told of who Dr. Ramdan and whatnot. But that's not the impression that students got at the first place. And I'll tell you, part of the reasons why students voted for SASCO this time around, it was because of one of the primary issues was because of the BTEC funding. Now we are now in November, close to December, and nothing has been done at all. And it raises a lot of questions when Comrade President says we don't want to approach those individuals because we're avoiding corruption. So this means, it gives me an impression that the president admits that is corruptible. If he himself cannot facilitate this issue, then it means he's scared that he might misuse the funds and or probably he took already, because he says we are avoiding service providers to give student leaders, instead of $1 million, they give 100,000, say keep quiet. Stop talking about BTEC fund. Probably that is the case, that's the situation we're sitting with now. Probably the fellow took already, now there's nothing that is moving. The impression that students got from Wandile himself was that BTEC funding is doable, it's very easy. In fact, the leadership at that time is useless.
So, Pasma, being, I think, minority party, these two titles, how do you, especially when there are critical issues like this, because despite BTEC funding, there's still about freshers, there's still NSFAS issue and all of. How do you, as PASMA, try to engage and make sure things like corruption and what's not are limited? Because I'm of an impression again that you don't have much of a say when it comes to SRC. You are not like part of the whole structure, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, you are correct. We are not part of SRC.
Yeah.
We are not in charge of governance.
Yeah.
But one thing that has been happening, with regards to the BTEC funding, the initiative was proper. Fundraising was a good approach to it. So, but bureaucrats, levels of management who must do what, who must do this, when you see such, maybe it's what prohibited President from accomplishing it. Because I had asked him in manifestos and he explained that, look, it's a short-term vision for now, which we are trying to achieve. But seemingly it's something that now we must broaden up the perspective on how to approach this matter. 2 weeks ago, as PASMA, we wrote to the Portfolio Committee of Higher Education and Training in Parliament, saying actually the BTEC funding issue it's a systematic way to exclude other students from participating in the economy. Actually, not V2 alone, CUT, TUT, DUT, MUT. So all of us are affected.
Of course.
Yeah. So in us trying to rescue those who are affected, students, particularly from the management faculty, human science faculty, those are 2 faculties that are not funded by NSFAS for BTEC. Engineers and biotech scheme, applied sciences, they get funding. So one thing we have raised is that, look, this is a way to automatically exclude policing students, safety management students from actually participating in the economy. It is wrong for you as a police to have a police that actually exclude others. Whilst we are using taxpayers' money, you cannot say we are going to favor these ones using the very same taxpayers' money. So our approach was that, look, let's in this country we have a policing matter, you see, where in terms of investigation, that's one cause they were supposed to put in man, to build laboratories around so that they can do their forensic work, investigation and whatnot. They need to change their policy that it should cater for everyone who wants to do BTEC and advance their skills in policing, safety management, labor relations, labor law, PR, logistics, all of them, they are important in the economy.
Of course.
If we want to shape it and make it, viable for everyone to participate in. So that's one thing we've raised. It's not an issue of this man, one deal and now failing. No. It's a systematic issue again of exclusion on who must participate and who must not. Now, interests of engineering students and applied students actually have taken an upper position. So one thing we must do now is to direct the war of BTEC funding to the department, because it utilizes taxpayers' money to fund the very same engineer.
That's just
okay.
a minute, because I was just explaining what has transpired and comrades came in. When I started, I said it's not a program that one did ran on.
Of course.
So it simply means if fundraising was supposed to be done by the SRC, the TG would have went and spoke to those people. But the SRC said don't go, because Comrade Lemukhang is speaking as if Comrade Wandile is saying is corruptible. No, President, I'm not the TG. I was not going to collect money or speak to those people. But my treasurer was going to do it. But as an SRC, we had an agreement that let's not go. You know what Comrade Lemukhang is missing is that I'm a president of a different structure like he was. Not a president of 16 members of SASCO. I'm a president with an SG who's from this part and a TG who's from this part. So I'm a president who on the executive side, majority is the EFF student command, but we're working very, very well with the comrades of the student representative committee, because they've matured beyond the level of partisan. And they've got an understanding that we have a task upon us. When it speaks of archives, I agree. We have written on Facebook, and we can still write today, that BTEC funding is something that ought to be achieved. And as a result, we wrote emails to I'm glad Tito mentioned it. PASMA was part of those that were with us when we were fighting for BTEC funding with more Comrade Wisam. So when comrades today speak of engineering and applied sciences, they must also get the background that who have written and demanded a funding for BTEC, for BTEC in working with other institutions. So comrades, I want us to because we want to give an honest information to students. We have written to the office of Comrade Lemukhang during the time of the president regarding the same matter. Fortunately now as the president, I'm still in power, but that letter I've never gotten a response as to their involvement or not being involved in the question of BTEC funding. So BTEC funding is something that we fought for a while outside Why? I was just giving you one of the things that we're doing now that we're inside. Not all of the things. I just gave you one,
Which
the
is
comrade
yes.
had already responded to. And Tito helped me to give a background that no, you've forgotten because we come from somewhere and we're part of you. Before elections, we elected in April. Even Dennis addressed BTech students and gave them that hope that I gave them. And we can still address them and give them that hope.
So
but it's a let me just it's a fundraising. You know, when I started, I did not say, even when I used to speak them, I never said you will be paid fees for that. I said we are going to fundraise.
Okay.
For the purpose of BTech funding.
Can I please keep you in that?
Yeah.
Yes. Focus. So you spoke when you were speaking first that there's a lot of mismanagement of funds and corruption that can happen and whatnot. And this is relevant to all of you.
Yeah.
Now, over the years, there has been claims of corruption, even during your time, during people maybe previously, before you came in, and during your time too. And this is relevant to the NSFAS issue that is going on right now, in which you said something on social media that I'm not sure of, but a statement to students on Facebook that many did not take lightly. I'm not sure if I should quote or you remember very well that when they asked about NSFAS, you gave a response that did not sit well with a lot of students. And as a president and as a leader in which you are ahead, of course, of SRC, students would look up to you with issues like these. Because I don't think students first blame you as SRC. They first seek for help. So as soon as this whole NSFAS shenanigans started, of course, there was a lot of confusion. So can you guys at least clarify on us and then clarify on that statement you made on Facebook? It was said that you said, Uti, I didn't hold your hand, something amongst those lines. I cannot quote clearly. I did not hold your hand, or I did not apply NSFAS for you when you were applying NSFAS. I'm not sure if you can recall anything like that. But please clarify the NSFAS issue.
Be objective, without trying to defend myself.
Of course.
I don't think I'm the important factor on the question of NSFAS.
Of course.
But those that are struggling and they are lying are the important.
Of course.
The SRC tried immediately when the SRC noticed. Okay, let me give you a background. Before I was in the SRC, before everyone could have clarified that the 275 is not their own statement, that there was a declaration that students must get 275 for personal use, extra cash. And in my checking of this allocation, I did not see it. I used to write those statements until Elisha clarified around March and said the 275 is included because you are getting cash and all kind of stuff. And he posted the 6th ticket, and I stopped speaking about it. So when we became in the SRC, it came back again. That where's the 275? The TG was the first person to release a statement to say there is no allocation of an extra 275 because it's included in the money that you are getting now. You know, it was the TG who responded because it's the one who deals directly with the question of NSFAS and other issues that has to do with funding. But student that called now for the president to be the one to come and speak, I released the statement. Students are not satisfied with the statement. I went to NSFAS and said, give me the security. Because students are not satisfied with the statement that we're writing. There's propaganda created that man is sitting somewhere there, and one day they might have taken it. They gave me the circular. I posted the circular publicly, and the students. So maybe that comment was a comment battling with comrades. Can't be a student. Because after when we posted the circular, comrades started. It was not only an NSFAS issue. I want to tell you. It was a political issue. Comrades found an opportunity to fight us. I want to show you something. They don't, let me not say us, but to fight one. Because in writing that the NSFAS man, what, they avoid the statement of SG, they avoid the statement of TG, they come straight to this one. that now we must be focused to one thing, and we must create the perspective that he has taken that money. I mean, when you calculate that money times the number of students, it comes about 50-something million. I'm going to look at. So it was a political matter. Yeah, but the nice thing is that also in the panel, I'm not alone from the SRC. I'll just speak the last part, and the entertainment officer will come to. It was a political propaganda created the same way the question of freshers was attacked directly on things. It was not a genuine issue. Let me show you why. Comrades calls a mass meeting. Students go to the mass meeting. They say you must get your 275. In the morning we're going to close gates. I clap hands. I say that's good. These comrades are going to fight for students. I'm a hipper. Avoid me. Means I have failed in your saying. Now you're going to assist them. They woke up in the morning. They went to finance. When they go to finance, they gave them a circular. They read the circular. They never said anything again back to the students. Because the circular they got is the information I had given. Let me take you back. When Elisha was an interim president, there was a matter striking for renovations. I led that strike without being a president. And issues were resolved. So comrades have powers to lead without being in the SRC. The same way I've led when I was not in the SRC. And if they were genuine, they were not using students about that question of 275, they would have closed those gates. They did not, because they went there, they were given what I told them. But still they went back on Facebook, hey, taking the man. When I stand next to the house, I bought the house. I stand next to the car, I bought a car. So it was a propaganda issue. I will stop here and give, because I'm not alone from the SRC in this panel. I want to give Comrade Dennis to also give his view, and then comrades will come.
So can I come in, Jay, with a short question? So if a president from the SRC is saying that clarity was already given and this was a political sort of struggle, and he claims it was sort of misleading students. So you as other political parties and maybe some comrades were engaged in this political struggle while there was already clarity on this issue, because it's a major issue. Even right now, there are some students who still believe in their wildest minds that there's money missing, and unfortunately, as a president, you're on top of the pile. They point fingers at you. So can you please clarify again on the NSFAS money that's missing, supposedly missing, and the political struggle that he has alluded to?
Yeah, look, you know what I think what we are all aware of is that specifically because we are not going to single out someone who has been quiet from the SRC. We can't talk about sports or visa or someone else or gender. We'll talk about someone who has said something about a particular issue that we are dealing with. And that's the person. We're not just singling out one because we want to have a political agenda against him and whatnot. But we are certainly making a comparison of what he said before and what he's saying now. And what he said should be done before and what's been done now. And I see anything wrong, and there's nothing political about that. It's just accountability issues that as a leader you should be able to come out and be able to say, no, comrade, we tried, we could not, or this is not how things are going to be done, or whatever the case may be, just on a clarity level. I can tell you now, Comrade Wandile knows, before he became president, and his tone and his approach to issues, compared to what he is now he approached issues now, it's completely different. And then it means whatever that he said before, and whatever that he said should be done before, it was only meant for campaigning purposes. It was not meant for a genuine action that should be taken. So on the issue of this is how it works, I'm representing a political structure. He is in governance. Management, the first student that they recognize when they make decisions is the SRC. And the first person in the SRC that they recognize when they make decisions is the president. So before we can try as much and push as political structures, but in terms of decision making, even in the statute of the university or the policies of the university, they recognize the SRC. So you cannot come as a political structure, as a chairperson, and want to make decisions that are outside your terms of reference as a political structure. And he knows a political structure cannot meet management in the absence of the SRC. So I just wanted to clarify that issue, that certainly there are certain issues that we as political structures cannot push to a certain extent because of the involvement and the recognition of the SRC. The only thing that I can say now is that comrades of the SRC, particularly the president, should be able to take the accountability on behalf of the rest of the 15 SRC members. You cannot come as the president and say, no, that's not my role, talk about teaching. That's not leadership. As the president, you must be able to shield and take accountability of your comrades. The only thing that we can do is privately ask they teach you what happened to that issue, and then you clarify this to them. So no, on this issue, this is what is been done and this is how far we are. But to extract yourself and to single out certain positions is just totally absurd.
No, yeah, thank you. So with regards to what has been said by my two learned colleagues here, there is one thing that is happening in VT, Nubusane. Maybe if you are not political, you cannot recognize it, but there's a bunch and a whole lot of populists here, who will do anything just to appear as heroes. This man there are guidelines. The unfortunate part is that students of this university are diagnosed by Nyope politics. In this way, they are seduced into voting, but there are no follow-ups. They don't even know their NSFAS contract, what it requires of them. So in those guidelines, it explains there are 4 criteria of students in this country: catered by resident, non-catered, and others, those who stay at home. So with ours here, the 275, yes, it is included. Correct, it is included in the money that they are receiving. So in terms of clarity, communication, I am not an SRC member, but they themselves also must wake up and follow up on issues. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So to conclude on that issue of cash system, I think the former president did not understand it very well. If there's a person that we need to blame with regard to cash students, it's all the student leaders. Because when all the students were registered, when all these resolutions were made, there was no SRC in this campus. And imagine this, the current SRC sitting here was elected on the last day of March. We became effective in office, I think, on the 1st or 2nd week of April, of which those students have been struggling before us. Before us, there was interim SRC that led. So it cannot be that this thing is going to be blamed on the current SRC. The current SRC, what we're doing is to provide solutions for the next year. And it's not true that those students are not going to qualify for NSFAS. Those students are going to reapply for NSFAS. And those students, because they do qualify for NSFAS, they're going to be funded next year. What is for us now, the current SRC, to ensure that those students are not going to be blocked. They're not going to be excluded financially. That's our duty, because those students, they've been there, they've been vulnerable for a very long time. And in our term of office, we have pushed with the cash so that others have been funded, others they have not been funded. Because the cash system was there only to assist students to register. Well, the system was only there to assist students to register, not to fund them or anything. So what we have advised the cash student is to reapply again for NSFAS, of which, if they have applied, they're going to be funded next year. What we can worry about is the debt that they've applied this year. Sure.
So, comrades, thank you for giving clarity on the whole funding issue and the whole money issue. So, I just want to move to a different sort of issue that I think all of us here as VUT students face. We are a predominantly black community here in the VUT. And former President Ulemu did say or speak about Afrophobia, and all of you did say something about xenophobia. So here at school we have the issue of tribalism. Different tribes are in this. And we have a conflict of interest that is so obvious amongst students, I can say intellectuals to say. So as political parties, do you have or programs, or do you do something to maybe try and bring a common understanding amongst us?
Yeah, thank you very much. The university have embarked this year on quite a number of programs on culture and diversity to try and have an engagement in this movement. Unfortunately, in most of the cases, not all students tend to attend such programs. But from our side, as the SRC, we have initiated programs to discuss the question of tribalism. But when you speak of a political structure, it becomes a bit different. Because a political structure must enact their own members. And if I can speak from the structure that I come from, it's a diverse structure. Because we have tried to this extent to get our members united, irregardless of their tribes. You find that Tsonga and Zulu and Sutus being brothers. But in the universities, we still have that problem. I agree with you. Because there are people that still don't find it good to welcome a brother or Zulu and then Tsonga, so Tsongas and then Zulus. And that is what I think comrades sitting here must be able also to assist in ideas that may limit it, to avoid, it getting to an advanced stage. But the investors attempted through us, and with the structure that I come from has also attempted. I'm trying to be as direct as I can due to the time limits. But the question of tribe, I think it's what must be good because it's big. You can't get all 18,000 students in one group. But all structures in their own context. Like I have said, that we are trying where I come from. They must try if they have not. They must try if they have not. So that when we come back together as one, all the structures has given that education. In the university we have tried, we have initiated program as the SRC to try and everything. And it's something that will still continuously be moving forward again next year because now it's already the year end. Thank you.
Okay. Any other inputs?
On tribalism.
Yes.
No, one thing we must get straight here on tribalism. Tribalism means loyalty to your tribe.
Mm-hmm.
Your tribe is what you are.
Okay.
Your culture, morals, and everything. So we are misleading each other here when we say tribe. We are putting tribalism and racism like as if there's hatred. Tribalism does not speak of hatred. You can open your Oxford Dictionary. It speaks nothing on hatred, but on one being loyal to his own tribe. And we cannot stop our African brothers from being loyal to their own tribe, cultures, morals, values. No, we can't. But then, to show that there is cohesion on campus, my brother, if there is any evidence besides online evidence, because those people are in their own comfort zones, if there is evidence of students fighting in a class at Mguyu, in the rest grounds or anywhere, based on tribe, then bring it forward, because there's none.
Oh, you're saying there is no tribalism?
Yeah, I know it's online on that page.
Oh, online. Oh.
Yeah, it's just so let's not take online things serious.
Oh, okay.
First time. Thank you very much.
Okay. So another issue that I think it was current president Wandile alluded to was they've done well in terms of maybe when beginning of the year when students are being registered and all of that, especially new students. Now, over the years, and I think we've had women campaigns here in campus, which I think I've saw once, and then they died out in terms of sex for help, and maybe older students who are males exploiting young females after they help them, and most of them, they are not aware of the dangers maybe they face because they are just seeking help. They don't know much, and then someone who's older or who's a male from helping with volunteer comes and we've only, I think I have personally seen just once where women actually stood out and spoke about such things. Do we still have those campaigns and maybe extra protection for new students who are unaware of such incidents?
Yeah, it's a bit difficult. You see, in the panel, it's men. One will also respond on the question of what happened to the falling off of those campaigns. But we have been in support of those campaigns, and we were trying to develop a strategy and a plan for this coming January to eliminate those inhuman behaviors. They happen. There are cases that you get that someone said, let's go to my room or give you my room. They sleep with a student for registration. We assisted many people while they cried. The nice thing is that the registration, we all do that. So we find ourselves in a situation where you assist a lady after she has encountered such challenges. In tears. So we're trying to that we can't disclose it because once you disclose a plan, they might counter. But what I can say is that as the SRC, we're trying to develop a strong strategy that is going to ensure that anyone who find themselves in that situation will eliminate them. It's unfortunate we'll have to take such drastic actions. Because if a person continuously do it, it means that person does not say anything wrong with it. And it's unfortunate we'll have to act upon it. So we're trying to develop a strategy. We have not concluded on it. We're trying to develop it whereby we'll try and protect. It's not going to be easy because they meet at 1 a.m. when you're sleeping and they take their lady, go with the lady to them. So we're trying to develop a strategy in how we can try and prevent such evil actions.
Yeah, and to add on that, you know the problem is that in January when students comes in there, most of them that are too disparate to be in the system, understand? Even if we go to the queues and tell them that no one must pay any man, because registration is free, rest is free. But because these students are disparate, they still do those things. So now I believe that the only thing that can prevent all this is online registration. Because if you are accepted by the university, and then if you are to register on your comfort bed, then who's going to take advantage of you? And students or learners, what I think the recruitment, there's a recruitment department in this institution. I'm not sure if it is doing justice or what, because you find that a lot of students from around Valley, they don't apply at all. Come January, they want to come here and do the application. That's when people take advantage of them. Because I believe that if our recruitment department were doing the job, at least we would expect that, okay, everyone from Valley must at least register in UT. Say, find out a student come from Subuke. This started to be in the system, the student has been rejected in UJ. And then find someone and say, no, let's do this. So I think that the students must be encouraged to apply in time, and then VUT must enforce this thing of online registration, because it's the only way that can prevent this. Because if you are applying online, then we're not going to meet anyone in an hour. We only come here when you're going to check your room and when you're coming to attend the classes.
So, Comrade, can I please stay on that a bit? And I would like input from the other two parties as well. That we also have, staying on the gender issue, we also have the LGBTQI community, right? And on our last episode, our panel did allude to issues of them being victims of unfortunate, bias towards them in the school. So, do you, you can speak in general in terms of gender, Uti, as political parties individually, and I was happy to hear, Uti, at least when it comes to such sensitive issues, you do agree on them and you try to work together towards a common goal. Do you include the LGBTQI community when you are coming up with such plans?
Yeah, the gender office of the SRC, I think she's a lead of the LGBTQ deployed by the South African Student Conference. We are part of discussing these things because we try and deal with the matter as a matter that affects the society and not single out that LGBTQI or females or males, because males also lose money. So we look at it in that level, and there's one amongst us as the SRC who's a leader of LGBTQI, who in most cases is able to also advise us on issues that we might not know, because that society in most cases is the one that is mainly attacked for what they are. So we have in the SRC one leader of an LGBTQI who is part of resolutions and planning as to how do we do away with such things.
Okay.
Yeah, certainly we, as the EF Student Command, like it's a common knowledge and what we are known for to be a representative or a vanguard or defenders of people who are ill-treated or groups that are oppressed, and the LGBT communities is one of those groups that are identified as the mostly attacked. And we want to conscientize our students, and I think we must all get to an understanding and accept that an individual decision, if someone decides to be something, you as the other fellow, you have no power to dictate what must happen to that particular person. If you decide to have dreadlocks, I can't tell you that no, you can't have dreadlocks, you must get your scope. So you must be able to respect each other's individual decisions with ourselves or with ourselves as individuals. But just to stretch this argument, I want us to talk about the future of VUT with the fact that we are under administration. I want us to talk about those issues. I want to talk about the uncertainties or the ambiguities that we are all faced with the fact that we are under administration. I want us to stretch our debate to that extent. What is going to be our role or our approach as an individual political structures or as a collective for students come general registrations and your temporary accommodation, your registrations, your OE, your credit management. And I want us to talk about those issues that are also affecting or that are creating ambiguities or uncertainties with students.
Yes. Actually, I think we should go into those with your conclusions. And Dennis, can you please a bit, while you're concluding, clarify on how students won't be blocked, maybe, on your conclusion, maybe for a brief minute each, conclude, and then, yeah, whatever you want to say, and your future endeavors for the VUT, like you just said, former President Uti. Where are we going as a university, and where are our political structures willing to take us, and what is their vision as the EFF, as the SASCO, as the PASMA, for whatever maybe next year and the year after that? What will be your major and your main goals? Understand? So,
Do I start or?
Anyone can start.
Yeah, in my conclusion, I would like to emphasize the point that the fact that we are under administration, it tells us something very difficult to swallow. We must all admit that for the fact that we are under administration, it says something very bad or something very negative about us as a university. And from the EFF Student Command, we certainly want to make emphasis on the fact that even the administrator himself will make sure that we hold him to account. We'll make sure that we push him to the edge, and to ensure that students are rendered services, and to ensure that students succeed in the system. We want him to collapse factions. And that's the most important thing, to collapse factions, to collapse nepotism, to collapse corruption. And in that way, I think the university will go to the right direction. But as it stands, there's nothing significant that I can say the administrator has done that we are satisfied or that we are happy with. We are still stuck by the same people that we've been having challenges with. And the university cannot go any further, cannot have any light. We are not going to go anywhere until the reports are out. I'll just make an example. Recently, there's been appointments of director of rights and tribunals. And my word or my issue is that you cannot allow that process to unfold without having the reports published and people who are implicated held accountable. Because you are now going to create a lot of uncertainties with us. We are not going to be comfortable with that process because then it means you are saying possibly people who are implicated in those reports, they are facilitating the interviews and shortlisting of appointing positions that are very critical to the university. So before we can make any move, that's my opinion, that the reports must be out. And when the reports are out, we must be able to know who's at the wrong side of the policy and who's on the correct side of the policy. And after that, we must be able to rectify our mistakes first before we can create a new layer of governance or leadership or management. But if we're not going to have reports published, I doubt we are going to go anywhere, but we're going to have a repetition of already what has been happening.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, in conclusion, in conclusion, you see, the current situation that we are in, we're actually, the administrator is actually looking for a corner in the second. Because it still has the very same people like Limham stated. There is a current, I'm not sure it's a renovation address for Butuano, where they are removing just one part of a window from an old frame and putting in, bargaining these new windows, aluminium window. So the corruption from the other side is still normal, because you cannot change a window in a rest where there are problems of plumbing, toilets. It's always flooding, and you go and decide, look, I'm going to change that window. So still they are trying to sweep everything under a carpet. When it appears, we'll see the rest looking flamboyant, nice, but then what is happening inside, students are sharing rooms with cockroaches. So it's correct, let reports come, those who are implicated, they must be chopped off the university. And we must be worried because as students from this University of Technology, we are going outside to compete with your vets from traditional universities, which have so much privileges, of course, more than us. So if we don't unite as students, not as student leader, but as students, to say, because we are from a certain class, that's why we are here. It's based on that. Yeah. We are here because we are from a certain class of society, which is said to be a middle class. So as children of the middle class, let's unite and transform this university from our own side, so that the university then can create professionals, responsible citizens out of the students that it has now. So our duty, together with them and AFF Student Command, is now to say University of Technologies must actually rise. They must actually now meet the standards, the economic demands of the country. They must also contribute. So we must take it from that level. Come January, actually, the head must know that we are tired of being the second ones, the side chicks of the industry, whereby we don't actually get married to our professions, all of us. We can study safety, but we end up as a clerk, and it's normal for a beauty student. We must check Kuboni's interview on Maiden Guardian that speaks on how employable we are. He goes out in confidence, the spokesperson of the university, to say it takes 3 or 4 years for a student from this university to be employable, but mostly end up taking any job that is there. So it must be a worrying factor for us, and we must unite and resolve. Thank you.
With regards to cash students, that's why I said even from the start that there are no crises. As I remember in December 2017 when the then President Jacob Zuma, when he prematurely announced the free education, it was us under the leadership of President who said in management to say that all students, regardless of however amount they are owing, they must register for free. And everyone from last year has been registering for free without having to pay an upfront payment. even those ones of consent forms, it's us who set management and say that all the students must be funded. So it's unfortunate that with regards to cash in January, there was no leadership, and we're not there to make this kind of resolutions. But it's simple because now, by the virtue of those students being allowed to register for free after being verified, it means that the students are deserving, are well deserving for funding. So it's going to happen. What we need, what was going to be simple. Next week we're going to a registration meeting with management, and our resolution is simple to say that all those who are approved by cash system, they must be in the system next day. They must not even go through to the management. All of them must not be blocked at all. Yeah. So it's just an issue of 5 minutes thing and then with management, and then we'll be done with that issue.
Yeah, thank you very much. Let me just be brief and conclude. I'd like to say, comrades, that change does not come overnight. Don't sleep and wake up tomorrow with this drastic change. There are errors in the processes of trying to come with change. I don't want us to overlook the administrator in time. And when comrades disagree on appointments of directors, I feel like I agree. Because you can't have a rest that does not have a leader. How does it operate? What I agree on is that the reports must be out, and those that are implicated must face the music that they're supposed to face. Now, the challenge that we're faced with on our level, because that's a management, is the divisions amongst us as students. Because we look for one that at least will be our enemy, and we forget the bigger picture. Because when January comes, we'll be expected to unite when in December we're fighting. It becomes weird, and it does not really make sense to those that are following us, that we're on top of this one. Now you must be together. So I think it's something else that we need to also correct, that we are going to have differences, but our differences must not be toxic. Because if our differences become toxic, we open space for non-leaders. Tito spoke on popularism. One would ask that after, when this one deals a problem is out, who's next? It's not a populist. If it's a populist, where is that populist going to take us? And is that populist going to be able to sit like we're sitting now? That populist is going to mature now. I'm not going to remember those that were eliminated so big. So I think also in our level as students, we must grow. We're in an institution of learning, and will be expected. I mean, now as you go, when you get home, you are alone with your mother and your father. If you are like me, or with your mother, or you are alone. And that's the situation that we need to change. But when you come back here and play and not take anything serious, it's sad. You're going to finish, you're going to go back in the same situation. It would be best if all of us are speaking this language of change with the same voice as our students. We're not saying that sometimes they might not have their fun, they must have their fun, but they must sometimes think of what they contribute to the change of this institution. I'm not saying people must change their life in time, but they must take it serious. To say, we're studying here, we're men in this university. We can bring this university stand still in a minute, and everyone can take us serious in a minute. But we're playful. It's one who must do it. It's expected that now it's one did. After him, if it's Dennis, if it's Tito, he must do it. It's not possible. But if we had the eager to say, I'm glad Lemokham became a president after he came back and still wanted to contribute. That's what I think is best. That everyone must bring their contribution to say, let's change the status quo. Because you sit and expect one person. You know, when we strike for free education, you'd have to knock in the room. Say, come, to fight for what you want.
Of course.
When they're sitting in the room, they say, we agree to it. But they do not come and join to it. They say, we agree, it's a good initiative. But they don't come and join into it. If you want change, you must be part of change. Each and every generation has its generational mission to fulfill. And if you're not part of that mission, it's unfortunate. Those that are part might fail if they are few, but if you join in, this change is going to come. So what this university is faced with, it's nothing that is beyond us united as students. We can change it. And president is a title. I'm a student like any other student. It's a title that is given to me for a temporal time that I stay in office. After me, someone is going to come and occupy it. And if I go and fight that one who's there, we're not going to change, I tell you now. We're still, that one is going to be my enemy, I'm going to be the enemy. The university is going to collapse at our watch, and we'll come and speak same thing, while our actions speak to the different things that are supposed to occur in the university. So I'm urging all students to join in this revolution and they must learn to analyze, they must learn to take their invested serious, and everything is going to change. Thank you.
Thank you. You guys have been great, and thank you for coming here. Yeah, it's a wrap.
Sure.
Yo, what up, Bafetu? This is your very own pending, the one and only head of media in force. Like, it has been a great year. Even if we started our second semester, we pushed until this far. Like, damn, it has been a road, and the road has been awesome. And I can't explain how awesome the awesomeness has been. So, it has been like, it has been a nice journey, guys. So, for me, I'm signing out for the year. Hopefully next year's gonna be fire. Subscribe, watch the first episode until the last. Even this one is gonna be awesome, so yeah. That's me, hey.
Yo, guys, you know what? I'm gonna be a little bit emotional than everybody else. We faced a lot of challenges coming. I don't wanna lie to you guys and tell you guys it was a smooth production. It wasn't. But look at what we had on the minimum budget. Imagine what we could do. This is a platform for change. I mean, right now, I am just the head of writing, occasionally help out with the media team. However, you look at what we could do. Look at what we did now. We are a platform for radical change, guys. Think about it. Just think about it. Awesomeness on awesomeness. Listen to my boy. Awesomeness on awesomeness.
Just too much awesomeness.
But yeah, Kennedy out.
Amaze balls. Amaze balls. Yes, sir. What's going next? Hey, Hi everyone. My name is Danny Jebo. You can find me on Instagram, Danny Jebo. Yes, I'm head of editing, assistant cameraman. Shout out to the team. You guys did the most. Shout out to Shane. He was calling me when I'm bathing. You know what I mean? Like calling me while I'm trying to. It's been hectic. It's been fun. Watch out for next year. We're gonna kill it. We're gonna murder. Shout out.
So guys, I have to say something. We didn't have a camera. We still don't.
We don't have a camera.
But you don't have a camera. We made this series without a camera, dog.
Chabanda.
On a tripod. We had no mics, we had nothing.
No funding.
But
No
you
funding.
had 5 episodes out of it from nothing.
Chabanda.
Don't mess with us. Give us a chance.
Subscribe and like.
Subscribe, like, share. Give us a chance. Because I'm telling you, the things you will learn from this place, from this show, you remember for forever. And like when I came to this show, I was ignorant on some issues. I thought I knew. But then I learned something. A lot actually. From the different episodes. Whether it was small business or whether it was the LGBTQI. Like I learned so much. And I'm just happy to be part of this group. And this group is the future. It's the future. Whether you like it or not, whether you like it or not, we are the future. So yeah. And we're here for change. Every day.
And anyone on Tepan, what Tepan said, there's a quote from Tupac. He said, I'm not going to change the world, but I'm going to spark the brain that will change the world. That's what we're trying to do. We won't change South Africa, but we'll spark the brain that will change South Africa. I guarantee you that, and how much confidence I have in my team, and in this group, and the show. So watch out. I won't say my name because you will find me on any network, social media platforms. I get that. And that's the point, But they are there. I'm not there, but they are there, They are there. You see, they're good-looking people out here, ladies. Jitas, not discriminate, LGBTQ. Follow them. You need to follow them. You need to follow back.
So I think I'm the one person that has said hi to you guys more than any other person. So when this vision was found, it was to others it was a joke. We were on our knees asking people to help us, and I think I'm the most emotional because here we are, 5th episode. What was most important with these 5 episodes was that our vision was realized as a team, and I would applaud the team member for that. Yes, there were some disappointments, there were a lot of fights, there were a lot of glitches here and there, but we managed to accomplish what can be future even for EVUT. Because most of us here, actually, we are living next year, most of us here. It's something we started to hand it down to the first years, second years, and make it a culture so that people can be woke and be aware. Because ignorance can only take us that far. You understand? So, gents, thank you. Thank you. It's a realized vision, and I hope after 5 years when we come back to look from where it came from, people will be so proud. So, gents.
I feel like people do not know this is Shing's vision. And it started off of something as stupid as WhatsApp. I'm not saying WhatsApp stupid. I'm just saying. By us just writing one code that says we are against gender-based violence. And this came up. Now, you guys are seeing us, while I'm saying gender-based violence as a group of men, I want you to know that we have expanded, just as the team that's here today. Our team does incorporate of both females and males. As much as we are leaving, we are not leaving freedom of speech. We will continue to be the voice and keep informing people what's happening. And next year, we might even just come out swinging. We were vague this time around. This time, we might just conjuntize people.